Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. I'm Susie, and this podcast helps you navigate your journey through the crossroads by taking a deeper look into witchcraft and spirituality. So buckle in, grab your beverage of choice, and let's get this episode going. Hello, gorgeous souls. I cannot believe that it is October. I know we were talking about like all the fall things, and I just had the best trip in Virginia. It was awesome. Right now it's very cold and rainy over there, and I can't believe I'm missing it. But coming back home to the desert, 97 degrees? Are y'all kidding me right now? It's like, so I was telling my husband, I'm like, it feels like it's September. Like it doesn't even feel like it's October. Um, but what is getting me in the season here is reading some of your spooky encounters or spooky stories, and I guess really I'm trying to like get into the mood. I'm enjoying all the decorations, and then I'm just like, ugh, freaking Christmas. Don't get me wrong, I love Christmas. I just feel every holiday needs to wait its damn turn. Just why why is Mariah already defrosting? It just makes no sense to me. Oh my goodness. So before we dive right in, I do want to remind y'all of some special offers that are going on. So you can access these links in the show notes. Don't forget that every first and third Wednesday of every month, I am offering community Reiki, and it is available via Zoom. So no pressure. It's at a good rate. You relax. You don't need to have your camera on. You're muted, and you just enjoy some Reiki healing, cleansing that energy, and removing the blocks, getting you in touch with your guides, and really gaining some clarity, regrounding you. So the first Wednesday of the month, open to anyone and everyone. Just come on in, relax. Let's go ahead and clear out from the month before. The third Wednesday of each month, I actually pull some tarot cards and do some candle work magic, and then we get into it. So there is a slight difference of the two. Some people prefer the tarot, some people just want good old meditated guided Reiki. So I have that both for you all. It is held again every first and third Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I have all the links in the show notes and on my socials. As soon as you check those out and submit payment, then I send you the Zoom link. So this is something I've actually been very, very excited for. Now, this next one, hold on to your freaking seats. So, if you've been following me for a while, you know that last year I co-hosted the Cauldron Chronicles Con, and I loved this witchy conference. I couldn't get enough of it. So, I was able to find and this is basically hanging out with my witchy besties. But what we're offering is another WitchyCon, so to speak, but it's called Venusian Mysteries. It is a 3-day workshop, and we really just dive deep into wisdom of the feminine, embodiment, and the sisterhood. Now, for these 3 days, you're going to get so much. Like, I can't even, I was like, you're going to get like 6 classes, but it's more. So you're going to get rituals, Reiki, um, different classes like self Reiki and energetic projection, writing petitions, going on a Gemini shadow journey. And then we have a sacred sisterhood circle, and then we're going to have a live Q&A with everybody. But for a list of all the classes and more information, you can find the link in the show notes. Again, it's Venusian Mysteries. It's going to be held November 15th, November 16th, and November 17th. And no worries if you can't be there live because you're going to have a lifetime access to all of the classes and all of the sessions. So it is, I'm that's what makes me giddy. That's where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come together with a sacred sisterhood circle. And not only that, y'all, we're gonna have free giveaways. Obviously, we're gonna have freebies, giveaways, and just having a really good time with other people going through their journey. So I check that out. Like I really want to see you there. I want to see that my listeners are coming into these classes. All right. Is that it? I believe so. Let's start getting into it. Let's get our beverage of choice. Mm-hmm. Let's settle in for two spooky ghost stories, and then we'll get into our episode topic for today. All right. Both of these are anonymous. Again, if you are leaving these on my socials, please let me know if you want me to share your name, because if you don't, I'm going to assume not. Okay. All right. Hey, Susie. Talking about spooky. While it has been a minute since I have seen a spirit at our building, one does reside there. I know that they are there. I have seen it. I have felt it. It's just always lingering. Who and what they are, have no idea. But those are my spooky encounters. With that, I'm going to add my own. So, at my first building, when I was first teaching, I always thought I was getting hazed because the teachers would tell me, um, hey, if you hear a lot of rustling around in your room and things are moved or whatever, and no one is in there, causing any issues, there is a spirit of a kid, of a girl in that room. And of course, I'm like, yeah, whatever, sure. So the room that I had was very big. And there was the custodial closet and then a regular closet. And at this point, I'd stopped eating in the teacher's lounge. I started having lunch in my room and just enjoying the silence. If you're a teacher, if you know, you know. So I'm relaxing, I'm having lunch in my classroom, and I hear something as if something maybe fell off a shelf. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I keep hearing like banging noises. I'm like, what the heck? And my first thought is like, one of these kids stayed in the closet, probably wanted to scare me, and then locked themselves in. So I get up, I walk over to this closet, I open it, no one's in there. Light is off, no one's in there. And I was like, is someone in the custodial closet? So looked in the custodial closet, no custodians in there. And my room has had an adjoining door to another classroom. And so I peeked in there, or actually I couldn't peek in there. And I was like, you know what? I bet you it came from that other classroom. So shrugged it off, whatever. Next day, same thing, banging around. And I was like, what in the get up right away, run over, no one in there, nothing's in there. And this time I moved a bunch of furniture that was blocking the adjoining door, moved the furniture and opened the door, looked inside, lights were off. Nobody was in there. And I was like, all righty then. I guess there really is a ghost of a little girl here. And so a couple of days, nothing happened. Then it happened again. And I just said, hey, look, I don't mind that you're in here. I hope you don't mind that I'm in here because I got my, work to do. As long as you don't bother me, I don't bother you and you're good, like just stop banging around because I think, you're getting hurt. A few more instances was I had a little water fountain in my classroom and the water fountain go off just randomly. And I was like, all right, cool, cool. So that was my journey with the little girl that resided in my classroom. I've long since worked there. So um, I know that they bulldozed down that building. So I wonder if her spirit is now free or she's just walking around the pecan farms that are now there. Interesting. Um, and our last submitted story. I have several times heard my cousin, Pablo. We were 43 days apart, I'm assuming born, and he has long since passed. I feel his presence moving my legs sometimes to brake or turn the steering wheel, moving me from an accident in the car that I am driving. He did die in a horrible car accident. I am so sorry for your loss. And he's just Pablo's looking out for you. If he did pass, if he passed in a horrible car accident, he probably doesn't want you to endure the same. And that is a wonderful, beautiful guide to have. So thank you so much for sharing. I got a few more. So if you are still interested in submitting your spooky or spiritual encounters, don't hesitate. Like, send them in. You can DM me. You can shoot them through my email. There's also a link below in the show notes with a job form where you can just send me those stories. Okay. How many of you out there have ever had sleep paralysis? I'm raising like both my hands and my feet. Sleep paralysis and those damn sleep paralysis demons. We're going to get into that. Let me tell you that sleep paralysis and having the sleep paralysis demons, I mean, it's not new to me at all. They're scary as fuck, super scary. It'll jar you and send you into the deepest heart attack that you can possibly ever have. And I'm going to get into the science of it and also get into a lot of the folklore that goes into it. And the reason it feels horrifying is that, at least for myself, you wake up, it's the dead of night, like middle of the night. You know where you are, but you cannot move. And you're literally paralyzed. And you can see everything in your room or where you're at, but you feel, or I feel a heaviness on my chest, and I'll see shadow figures. Shadow figures that are either walking towards me very slowly or already on me, like on my legs, on my chest. And you can't move. You can't scream. Like your mouth is open and you can't make any noise. And when this first happened to me, even when it happened to me just recently, having someone sleeping next to you and you are in panic and you're trying to like have them help you and you can't move and you can't get a word out is some scary traumatizing shit. Like, and then when you finally get out of it, it's like, oh my God, like you got to shake it off. I know that I'm shaky and it's like, oh my gosh, I was scared. I was in, sleep paralysis. I saw my sleep paralysis. Dana's like, well, why didn't you wake me up? I couldn't. Sleep paralysis, like could not move, could not make a sound. And this has happened to me many a time. So we're going to get into the science of it. So what are the components of sleep paralysis? Now, it is a condition where the person wakes up and they're temporarily unable to move. Okay, it feels like forever, I'm not going to lie, but It's not forever. So it happens when you are in between realms, so to speak. So you're not awake, right? And you're not fully in your sleep state, in your REM and your REM. And you're in the in between. And it's when you wake up from some point in that REM sleep cycle and your brain is very active, but your body is not ready to be awake yet. So your body goes into, oh, there was a word for it and I didn't write it in my notes, but um it goes into like a paralysis state. That way you're not fully acting out your dreams and you can get a good night's rest. So everything it's happening in the mind. You're going out into the dream world, into the dream realm. And so when you wake up suddenly, your body isn't ready to wake up, but your brain is very, very active. You are consciously awake, but that protective paralysis from REM hasn't worn off yet. So for this reason, most people who experience sleep paralysis, this is what's happening. So there are so many um, reasons and a lot of folklore that is connected to sleep paralysis, but overall that's what's happening. That's the scientific thing on what's happening with your sleep paralysis. But just as sleep paralysis occurs and when there's a disruption in your sleep cycle, it's like you're experiencing a vivid dream or a hallucination because your brain is so active coming out of that dream space and your body is still in that paralyzed space. Your brain is what's bringing that dream state to the wakefulness. So it's hard to decipher if the little cat or pup that's sleeping at your feet is really your familiar, your pet, or if it's some gremlin looking thing. But we normally hear about demons. Oh, my sleep paralysis demon. If you're on any of the socials, I know it was like a big thing on TikTok. But some people don't really describe them as demons because it's not necessarily dark. Some people describe it as something maybe unsettling or just feeling as if something's in the room with them, something just kind of scary. And it's more on that hallucination. Um, but for many people, depending on your culture, when we go back, even considering ancient times, they each have a vision of this idea that is a scary entity sitting on your chest or something terrifying because you can feel it, you can sense it. And culture is really important when it comes to how we perceive these things, how we perceive these hallucinations. So those of you listening all around the world, I would love to hear how your culture perceives these sleep paralysis hallucinations or these sleep paralysis quote unquote demons. Now, studies have been shown that people that do experience this usually have that stress could be a factor, not having maybe a normal sleep cycle. But honestly, for myself, I don't recall my sleep being altered, having a lot of sugar right before bed, or I'm having a nightmare or even having like stress dreams. It really did feel like that witching hour, that 3 a.m. And then it's like, what's happening? One time when I did have sleep paralysis, it wasn't even in my own home. I was house sitting for a friend and I could always just feel something. It was an older house in an older neighborhood. And that sleep paralysis demon was fucking wild because it like wouldn't leave, and it happened repeatedly. I could just feel that energy. So much so I needed to have um I mean my husband, but my he was my boyfriend at the time, like come and stay with me because it had already happened twice. And I'm like, no, I need like you're gonna hold my ass, um, and hopefully this shit will get out of here. Because then I really didn't know about cleansing the space or really filling out the space just yet. I wasn't there in my part of the journey. And my boyfriend, my husband now, was asking, are you gonna tell them like what you're sensing and feeling? I was like, hell no. I can already see them. So at that time I didn't tell them because I didn't have any remedies. Like I don't know what to do at that time. What am I gonna do? Just scare them if they don't sense it, or maybe they do sense it and they didn't tell me? I don't know. But I have always been very sensitive to things like that. So looking over at different cultures and religions, things that have, or something that really came up repeatedly was the night hag. And let me just grab my notes. So the night hag is, or it can also be old hag. It's the supernatural creature, and it was commonly associated with the sleep paralysis phenomenon. So this is feeling that malevolent creature or person. And when you feel like you can't move, you see this night hag or old hag, either sitting on your chest or at the foot of your bed. So when you see this night hag and feel it, that's that constriction you're feeling in your chest, like you can't breathe. Like, oh my gosh. So here in the States, and I even saw in parts of Canada, people describe this figure as a hag, right? And it leaves her physical body at night and sits on the chest of her victim. The victim then usually awakes with the feeling of terror and has difficulty breathing because of the heavy, invisible weight on their chest from this night hag. So I have felt that before. Um, my my sleep paralysis demons are always different. So that's where I'm like, okay, either either my sleep paralysis demon has a sense of humor, or someone's got to tell me something because it can be very jarring. So I have had where the sleep paralysis has been on my chest, at the foot of my bed, in the corner of the room. And one that I found very, very interesting was I saw two different figures, and I was really seeing their silhouette and seeing them really from the chest up. And one was like a silhouette of a man, and the other one was a woman, because I could see the way her, I guess her hair was like very short, almost like shoulder length. And with these sleep paralysis demons, I, and they say to come out of it means you need to breathe, know that you're okay, and calm down. Oh, okay. And then your body can relax and get out of it. They also had said to, and by they, I mean, the different articles I was reading, doctors and, scientists looking into it, but also to close your eyes, knowing that you're safe and what you're seeing isn't real, it's a hallucination. But if we're looking at this phenomenon of sleep paralysis demons, because we say demons, but it doesn't always have to have a negative connotation. We're just jarred awake, and we are scared because we can't move. And of course, if you're immobile and you're wide awake, it's going to freak you out at some level. But if you've done some research, have y'all seen what angels look like? Yeah. So angels don't look like they do on like the 7-day candles you buy in the store, right? Very angelic on a fluffy cloud, very handsome. No, that's not what they really look like. Now, they may have to take that form because we're going to freak out if we see all these orbs with a million eyes looking at us, right? Um, if you watch Supernatural, it's like you're an angel. It's like, yeah, well, my actual physical shape burns humans' eyes out. And when I'm speaking to you, you just hear it in a high pitch. So we got to basically dumb it down for you dumb humans, basically. So as we're looking at different cultures, people believe that these sleep paralysis episodes were attacked by demons because what we don't know, we fear, right? So again, I would love to hear different cultures, but like I said, we have the night hag. We have if you see a female entity, it's a succubi. In ancient Egypt, they blamed the jinn, which is a vicious spiritual creature, and I really want to do an episode on that one. In China, people believe that sleep paralysis was caused by a ghost. It's also some people do believe that it is an attack on the dreamer's soul, especially if you're working around a lot of people, you haven't been cleansing yourself, not grounding, um, and just feeling kind of that grab. That's why it's really important to, give yourself a good cleanse every once in a while and really ground yourself so that way these things don't happen, or at least you can help, the frequency in which they happen. Because whether you look at it from the scientific standpoint of it's temporary paralysis when you're falling, falling out of your sleep and waking up, or your culture really does believe in what you're experiencing, either way, like you should be grounding yourself. You should be really sweeping off any of that excess energy that might be sticking onto you because nobody wants that shit on them. That's what makes you feel heavy. Now, if you feel like this is a spiritual attack, you could do a couple of things. One, I would change everything out. And with the full moon coming up on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, depending on where you are in the world, now would be the best time to start cleansing things out and away from you. So maybe now is a good time if you suffer from sleep paralysis quite often. You vacuum under your bed. You change out your bed sheets, even maybe the comforter. Give it a good wash, or maybe in a spray bottle, get some water. Maybe you can put some Florida water in there and some salt. Give it a good shake and just spritz it, and release any negative or stagnant energy and bring in peace and calm. Vacuum, sweep, mop, getting those corners, but really around and under your bed. And, you can smoke cleanse, you can sound cleanse, you can, do Reiki, but really moving the energy around and really cleansing it out will help you. And it's just like when you get nightmares or you feel like someone is just penetrating your dreams on purpose, you could get a bowl or a glass, some container, fill it up with water. You can use moon water. I mean, you're charging it anyway. And you can throw some salt in there, some rosemary, both for protection, and place it on your bedside or under your bed with the intention that whatever negativity or ill is being thrown at you or is around you is not going to get to you in your energy because of that bowl of salt. Again, extra precaution, you can, put the rosemary in there. You could put lavender to, bring in, calm. But those are some things that you could do if you think these are spiritually spiritual attacks. You could proceed with caution or maybe do your own research, but you can even do some divination after the episode. You can try to close your eyes and ask them what they want, who they are, and see if anything pops into mind. And then I would jot that down and then get some good night's rest after you've been released. There, you may be prone to sleep paralysis if a couple of these factors are present. Maybe you have high anxiety. Um, Maybe you had alcohol right before bed. Um, Smoking, sleep depression, deprivation, stress, maybe some trauma. I feel like these, the list that I found online, it's like, okay, well, who doesn't have high stress nowadays? You know what I mean? But really, what I gathered from this list is when this sleep paralysis happens, what did you do that day? Who did you come in contact to that day? What happened that day or night? Maybe what's coming up for you the next day, and really journaling on that and see if there is a pattern. For myself, I felt like every time I had a sleep paralysis demon, except for the very last time I had it with the two figures, it always felt like the spirit was upset. There was a time in my old house, and it had happened twice. Um, I This is why now it's like when I sleep in bed, I face the side and then like my husband's beside me. So it's like I need to see the edge of the bed so I can see what's going to come and attack me. But in my old house, I had my back to the edge of the bed, right? It's almost like that equivalent of letting your feet hang off the bed. And I remember telling my sister right away, and she's like, oh my God, that's terrible. So picture it. You're asleep in bed, your back is facing away from the edge. It was already morning time. I think it was like, oh, it's too early. I'm gonna try to get a few more minutes of snooze time. And I felt as if someone's hand was going up the back of my head and then aggressively, not lovingly, okay, aggressively closing their hand into a fist and pulling my hair. Like just grabbing on as if back in the old days, if anyone ever disciplined you, like when they would grab your hair, if you ever seen, girls fight, when they really grab and latch onto the hair at the root, that's what it felt like. And I remember when it happened, I got goosebumps all over my body. I was scared, and all I was able to do was and that was it. And I couldn't shake it off. And then I felt the hand release, and as soon as it released me, I was able to breathe. Scary shit. That felt very like that energy was very upset. When I had it the second time in this house, when I woke up, I saw a dark entity by my sliding door, because at the time I had a sliding door that would connect that, we can go from the bedroom to the backyard right away. And the entity was on the inside of the house looking out. And when I woke up again, I was like, what the like I was like, who's that? And I remember it turned quick to look at me and just like appeared, like in the horror movies where they get to you like real quick, like that. Ugh. And was like, how are you seeing me right now? And I was like, oh my God, I don't see anything. I don't see shit. I'm sorry. And I remember, again, this was before my spiritual journey, before any of that. My sister would poke fun at me. She's like, yeah, because that lady died, because we got this house. It was the people had already passed away, and we were able to get the house, and they didn't pass away in the house, you guys. And that's what I tell my sister, and she's like, yeah, that's what they tell you, which, I don't know, maybe true. So all this to say, um, take note. I felt that energy was heavy in the house because the energy was heavy in the house. I didn't know really about smoke cleansing or anything like that, but I do remember, my family was like, you need to get a priest in there because, grew up Catholic and um with the, I was gonna say, I don't know what I was gonna say, with the holy water and sprinkle it around. And for whatever reason, we couldn't get a priest to come, and we had holy water, so I tried to sprinkle it where I could myself. But that's what I'm saying. Religion and the spiritual journey is one and the same. You do the same thing with Florida water. So yeah, that's basically what sleep paralysis is. If you were ever um confused, you're seeing videos like, what the fuck is a sleep paralysis demon? That looks scary as shit. I like the videos now though that kind of poke fun at it, like my sleep paralysis demon. Um, after I binge Taco Bell and it's like does little salsa moves or whatever. I think that's cute. I think if we can keep it lighthearted, we should, but also keep in mind on what's happening, not to lose sight because I don't know about y'all, but I did not like the night hag. No, no, no. I did not like that. Um, and I actually would love to hear from you, my listener, gorgeous soul, on your take on sleep paralysis. You're not alone because I didn't know people suffered from this. Uh, with the person I was living with at the time, I told them and they're like, crazy. It was just a nightmare, blah, blah. Well, even if it's just a nightmare, that's still scary as shit. But just know that you're not alone out there. Okay. Many people have sleep paralysis. They see the figures, they see the shadows, they feel the energy, the night hag or whatever it is that um you are seeing and feeling. Okay, so I want you to know that it's everything that you may be feeling, that you're not alone, and totally valid everything that you are sensing and feeling and maybe you have questions on, for sure. So yeah, that's my whole take on sleep paralysis. Again, I would love to hear from you and let me know how how your sleep paralysis demon treats you. How often do you have sleep paralysis? And I would love to hear what your first encounter with sleep paralysis was like. Like, how old were you? Keep those spooky stories coming. And I have a special treat and a special guest coming up here very, very soon. And I cannot wait for that episode to drop. All right, gorgeous souls. Again, hit everything down in the show notes. Don't forget, Reiki is coming up this Wednesday if you're catching this on time. So this Wednesday is the 16th, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Always check out my socials because sometimes I like to sneak in a little coupon here and there to those that um, really interact with what I'm posting. And shoot me an email. Let me know if there's any other things that you are interested in, a topic idea or a question. Links are down below. And Venusian Mysteries. You do not want to miss this 3-day event with myself, Sarah, and Elena. So that link will be down in the show notes. That way you can see all the classes that are going to be offered. And hello, freebies, coupons, like that alone. That alone should really get you in the door, into the virtual door. So again, this will be via Zoom. Be safe out there with this full moon. It is in Aries. It is a super moon and it is the hunter's moon. So all this spooky talk, now I'm feeling now I'm feeling a little more Halloweeny, a little bit more October. All right, gorgeous soul. Until next time, I will see you at the crossroads.